freedom fighter. In the U.S. Senate, he's always stood strong for law enforcement, the Bill of Rights, and law-abiding gun owners. He's an avid sportsman who practices and preaches back here exactly what he means in Indiana. Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Senator Mike Braun. How about a big hand for him?
Good afternoon. How many Hoosiers do we have out in the crowd? Smartest thing I ever did is when I lived away for a couple years, was decided to move back to my hometown in Jasper, Indiana. A little business, some Jasperites here too, built it into a national company. When you do stuff like that, you know what living the American dream is about. I'm now a U.S. Senator, one of the feistiest, most conservative ones that will speak up, fight every day when I'm in D.C., and I'll continue to do that. Growing up in Jasper, I learned the values that guide me today. Very clear: faith, family, community. Love the outdoors as well. 10 years old, Dad gave me a single-shot 20-gauge Stevens that I still use to harvest squirrels to this day. Have taught that to my kids and grandkids as well. Learn the importance of safety, pass those lessons on to my kids as well. We all learn the same safety rules. At the core of our belief is that human life is the most precious thing on earth and must be protected. Self-defense is an American right. It's as central to our nation's history as any other freedom we have. Indiana knows this. I'm proud to represent a state that respects the millions of law-abiding gun owners exercising their Second Amendment right to defend themselves and their families. Wasn't too long ago, a town not too far from here, Greenwood, was rocked by a senseless attack. A coward opened fire in a shopping mall food court, killing 3 people. Thankfully, a brave young Hoosier jumped into action. He was concealed carrying and had trained for this moment. 15 seconds after the first shot was fired, that good Samaritan fired the last one, thank goodness. And you know what he put online right before that? That gun-free zones are an easy target. Sad. He found out that there are good people everywhere who are ready to defend their lives and the lives of their fellow citizens. We honored the memory of the Greenwood victims in the Senate last year and made a special commendation for that young man for his swift, solid action. Let's give that guy a round of applause. As the Greenwood police chief said, he saved many, many lives that day. The Good Samaritan is a hero and also a reminder that our Second Amendment right to self-defense also comes with responsibilities to be well-trained, moral, and always ready. I visit all 92 counties each year. I'm the only senator that said you can visit me on a Friday in my hometown. We've got to be accessible. If we're going to be conservatives, they're going to fight for what is a center-right country. We've got to do a better job than we're doing in D.C. I've met all kinds of Hoosiers who are worried about their Second Amendment rights being taken away. These days, the conversation coming out of D.C. is not about how to keep guns out of the hands of criminals and the mentally ill. It's about trying to end private gun ownership as we know it. That's not going to happen on my watch. The Biden administration doesn't have the support for their initiatives in Congress, but that doesn't stop them. It's just not guns that they're overreaching on. Before I was elected to the Senate, I felt the pain of government overreach in the lives every day of my employees and in running my business. I told Hoosiers if they send me to D.C., I would fight to drain the swamp, change the status quo. When Biden announced his unconstitutional, immoral vaccine mandate for businesses down to 100 employees, you know who had to step up? A freshman senator. Proudly did it, exercised the Congressional Review Act, and thank goodness our Supreme Court weighed in 2 weeks later and said enough is enough. We took a stand, our office did, against overreach, and we won. It took until this week for President Biden to finally end this ridiculous COVID emergency declaration. Look how long it took. That's been in the rearview mirror for a long time. Look at the damage it's done to our country. The president's ability to declare a national emergency and seize extra powers presents a threat to bearing our arms as well. That's why I wrote a bill that would prevent the president from declaring a national emergency to impose gun control. That will be the next thing that will happen. Hopefully this passes through Congress. He probably won't sign it, but it'll make a statement. Speaking of COVID, our own government has been hiding what we have in our own intel agencies. Senator Josh Hawley, he and I came in together back in 2018. We did the bill that every senator signed, Democrat and Republican, passed in the House, and finally Biden is going to have to reveal what they've been hiding in terms of that intel for all this time. That came from your freshman senator from Indiana. Thank you. So we will soon have more information. They got 90 days to release it. I don't think Dr. Fauci is going to be in a very good mood after that. I'm on that committee that interviews him, and there's only one problem. Rand Paul goes 2 senators before me, and I can tell you he's not in a good mood after Rand's done with him. They are political enterprisers, and the best way to understand the difference between their side of the aisle and mine, especially if you're a Main Street conservative, they look at the federal government as their growth business and their cathedral all wrapped into one, and they operate accordingly. Until we, as Main Street conservatives, do a better job out there, we're not going to see something different in D.C. I'm going to fight hard to try to change that. Here's another recent thing that occurred. Your hard-earned money. They have a ruling that came out of their Labor Department that says you can now invest not on the rate of return, but on any woke agenda. We got that passed through the House and the Senate and was proud that it initiated Biden's first veto. Came from your freshman senator from Indiana. When I ran, I pledged I wouldn't do it more than 2 terms. The founders never intended the place to be run by career politicians, the bureaucracy and swamp that goes along with it. Even brought back earmarks, which is sad because it's an example of how so many people out there shrug their shoulders. 18 trillion in debt when I got there, now 31 trillion. Our fearless leader puts us 51 trillion in debt in 10 years. Something's wrong. I'll be a loud voice against that. Shameful that you'd borrow money from your kids and grandkids. Someday, maybe we'll get a constitutional amendment that gives us term limits and a balanced budget. And I think it's here closer than what you might think. All of us here know the federal government is reaching into every part of our lives, trampling the Constitution. Some on the other side of the aisle want government to completely replace the productive economy and our nuclear family. They want to replace us with them. That's not going to happen, but we as conservatives in D.C. have to articulate it better, and until we do, I'm afraid we're going to be disappointed. We need more fighters. We're going to hear from a couple here in just a moment. My friend Jim Jordan from Ohio is coming out. And then the ultimate outsider is going to close the day out, President Trump. He came in 4 times for me when I took out 2 congressmen and a sitting senator. We needed to be populated in our federal government with outsiders, or you can expect more of the same. He's the ultimate outsider. Look how well things were running pre-COVID. It's not complicated. Let's get back there. So the right to defend yourself and your family, it's in our Constitution. It's a moral right and a solemn duty. Indiana will always respect the rights of law-abiding Americans. Hoosiers understand that the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness depends on the right to defend ourselves and our families. I will always stand up for Americans against the overreach of the federal government into every aspect of our lives at the cost of our constitutional freedoms. Count on it, period. Thank you.